Recording started.
Hello.
Hello, Ryan.
Hey.
How are you feeling?
Death is certain, guys. Oh my god.
Okay. I wish I could have brought you some soup, but it was a little snowy and I didn't want to drive that far.
Oh my god, it's Ryan.
My mom made me some soup.
Good!
Is Ryan joining us or is he just here to watch?
I'm just here for a bit until I lose consciousness again.
Okay. Alrighty.
Because that's gonna happen.
We still have no word on the chibi and kid situation.
Isn't it Caleb's birthday?
It is.
It is, which is something I'm going to address a little bit, but we cannot hear them. Or they're just not speaking.
What?
Hi, Alex.
He's getting on.
Happy
Oh,
birthday.
okay, now we can hear Chibi.
Happy birthday, Chibi.
Thank you, Ryan.
Happy birthday.
We got a
Thank
lot of
you.
February birthdays in this chat.
Hello,
Yeah, we have
kid.
a lot
Okay.
of aquariums.
So I'm gonna finish up the
And then Tyler's
changelog
the
real
fish
quick,
in the aquarium.
and
Hey,
we'll
I'm a
get right into it.
52-bit.
I know.
So yeah, today is Chibi's birthday.
Woo!
And just as a little birthday gift, I'm giving him a special inspiration die that's going to just be
Yay.
at the top of this session.
Thanks.
This isn't going to count to that 3 total either, so you can just cherish that die, you can hold on to it, you can not use it, it won't carry over to the next game. However, I am introducing a special inspiration die that will carry over, that there is no limit on.
This guy.
If you do me a huge favor, because Lauren's been doing a ton of work and helping me out, because she even made a new character sheet for everybody. It's a new format with a bigger boxes for inventory, for features, for stuff like that, so you don't have to squeeze everything in 2 little boxes. And she's done all the character portraits so far. So if you, because like I've got some other tasks that I could probably send out if people actually wanted to try to help with that or not. But if you help me out in some way, and I might even start doing it if you level up other people's characters, so Stevie, you might be getting some of them in the future, just for doing that. They're just an extra inspiration die for doing me a big old favor with prepping the game. And you can just hold on to it, carries over from session to session, and you're just good to use it whenever you want.
Woo!
Last thing. I know that when I did the Pokemon RPG, I spent a lot of time working on the big old map.
Is
I
that
will say,
done yet?
the Pokemon map?
Yeah.
I haven't touched that since I started D&D.
Okay. So
That
it's
all
not...
my efforts are on this now.
Yes.
However, a D&D map may or may not have been in a presentable completed stage that you may be able to purchase from somewhere in town, maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
Just
Guys.
maybe.
Norven's gonna pee on the map.
Okay.
Oh,
Can we
no.
get that laminated, please?
Oh my god.
He's got poop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still,
Gotta
you
poop.
can just wipe it off with lamination.
I'll go ahead and just swing us through the past session while Chibi's pooping. Last session, we finally got back and took a nap at Belly and Beaver's farmhouse. Your bodies were sore, achy, and we had just brought back one of our own from literal death. Had a good night's sleep, and awakened the next morning to set out, and am I getting my sessions wrong? I'm getting my sessions wrong. No, wait, last session we didn't do that. You guys went to sleep before that session. Last session we stopped it. No, yeah, I went to sleep last session. Sorry, I'm getting really confused. Went around and we went on the pursuit to find out who the secret admirer was. We stopped at Adi's shop, who did I can't speak. Who did indeed sell that quill of emulation. He, through a couple persuasion checks and you convinced Adi to reveal the name as Klund, one of Forker's co-workers at the logging site. So you guys briskly made your way there. Found out that Klund is a rather soft, odd little dwarf who said he had little to nothing to do with any disappearance of Anda and knew little of where she might be, but he did inform you that he had huge distrust and distaste for Foraker, and huge tits, apparently. through a couple of other failed intimidation checks and persuasion checks, you guys. Oh, and a couple slaps. Nice one, Gryfella. You guys made your way off to.
Yeah.
I had an emotional slap.
You guys made your way back to Anda's cottage, where you figured that your next best lead may be to follow the goblins and find out what's going on there. You tracked the previous trail of the wargs and goblins that you had encountered earlier, and followed them back to a trail that just reeked of goblin populace. Footprints, tracks they weren't even trying to hide, just huge quantities of bugbears, hobgoblins, and goblins. Finding in your best interest to not carry on further into a potential army with a still recovering party member,
Lame.
you turned around and... What's up?
I said lame.
Oh, lame. You guys turned around and made your way back with your tail between your legs. However, one of you noticed a goblin. I think it was Norven noticed a goblin peeking out from the bush line. You covertly were able to cast sleep on him and carry him back to Anda's cottage, where you had a unique interrogation session of some failed intimidation rolls, making him clam up. Some of you wanted to resort to torture. Some of you wanted to just let him go because there was no information to be gleaned from him. Between Lull and Syras' more good cop approach, you guys managed to crack him open just a bit, where he revealed a bit about his clan and their civilization, and giving you a couple names of higher up hobgoblins. Now, with most leads have running cold, you guys decided to go pay Forker's house a visit to see if you could dig up any clues. You were able to discover a missing kitchen knife, and suddenly a walking corpse knocking on the back door with a knife firmly planted in its gut. After presuming it was the walking body of Anda, you observed its path through the house and towards the center of town in Brilga, following a oddly similar path as to the revived beaver bear you guys also felled earlier that day. A guard took up arms as he saw it approach, and you guys were able to persuade him to stand down and to carry out your little experiment to see where it was headed, which you found it was headed straight for the town's well, before Turalyon promptly used his new divine smite to behead the zombie. A crowd of people had formed to see this go down, and as Lull began to examine the body, we will resume our session there and begin.
I just rejoined. Hi.
Hi, Lauren.
Sorry, I was having...
You're good. We're kicking things off right as soon as you're about to kind of go down and investigate the body. I think last time we were there, you did a medicine check to see how long it had been deceased, and it came back about 5 or 6 days.
Okay. Can I check the body out for like any other kind of wounds that weren't the knife wound?
I think in that same check you also got that it was I think there were 5 stab wounds in the abdomen, but other than that...
The town guard was already on their way to get Foraker, correct?
Yeah, they said that they would go apprehend him to just bring him in for questioning, as at the moment they are aware that there's potentially some foul play, but there hasn't been overwhelming anything proving other than just he said, she said, and he said coming from you guys saying that he was the prime suspect.
Well, I say Foraker did it.
Yeah.
Put him down. That's all. I got.
A guard approaches you guys as you guys are doing it. The same guard from earlier that you guys were able to talk down, and he says, so, if we're going to have to ask you several questions about this, but where can we find you?
Well, We were staying with Belly.
Belly's farm.
Oh, just west of here? Okay.
Yes.
Alright. Please stay within Brugge for the time being.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, we've got a
'Cause-
well to clean.
He kind of glances over and... I don't think he goes over and kind of investigates it a bit and kind of draws his head back. That we do. That we do.
So
You
can I
wanted to say
ask
something,
you
Walter?
a couple questions?
The guard?
Yeah.
Yes, you may.
So how long have undead been showing up in town? Like, I'm sure that the God, what is it called? Beaver Bear, and now I keep forgetting everyone's name.
And
And now Anda, there has to be way more considering and Lull kind of looks over to the well. Yeah.
Right, well, we've been dealing with this plague for about, oh god, maybe 3 weeks now, a bit longer.
Holy cow. Okay.
Mostly we haven't seen much. I mean, we didn't think they were undead. We just thought that they'd kind of entered a rabid state where they were not really all there anymore. Just became all vicious and ruthless and
But Anda
not many. Go on.
But neither Anda nor the beaver bear attacked us unless we got in its way, so I wouldn't technically say that they were ruthless, but please continue, please continue.
I mean, what do you do when a loved one starts acting sick and they start swinging at you? It seems like they're attacking people. Mostly it's been animals and little things. A raccoon, a badger,
That makes
occasional
sense now.
bird. I think the worst thing outside of the bear was a couple wolves. Once in a while we get a goblin strolling in.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't figure out why they were coming in either. But
I mean,
you know, when a goblin comes in, you put an arrow in its head.
yeah. I'm assuming probably our answer is probably at the bottom of that well. Yeah?
I mean, we've only had to resort to killing a townsfolk maybe once or twice, 3 times now.
But she was already dead.
He kind of pauses and looks troubled at that whole thing. Like he's kind of like it's hitting him like that's an undead. Like they're undead. How do you know that? And he kind of looks at the corpse and it's like he seems very troubled. Like it's never hit him until now that these things are undead. Like the assumption was that these things were alive. These things were just very diseased or
Yeah.
rabid.
Well, let's just say that I've been learning quite a bit about this.
As
For
you
about
guys
a
are kind of
year or
having this
two now.
conversation, the one bronze dragonborn who you've seen around the temple comes rushing up out of the crowd and kind of glances around, and the guard's like, you can you confirm that this here is an undead? And the dragonborn begins to
Well, now it is very dead.
the dragonborn goes down and begins to kind of do a quick examination.
Can I help out, kind of point out some of the things that...
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, he. Hang on, let me get open the thing really quick. God dang it! Oh, my notes are exploding. Help! They're blowing up. Okay. Yeah. He looks up and he's like, "That is definitely an undead. I don't know why we hadn't realized it sooner. I feel a bit amateur for thinking that this was a plague." The guard troubledly nods and says, "Thank you, Father Shadehand. need to go talk to the captain. Do you guys
Where's my note?
plan staying on in town for a bit, or are you headed straight back to the farm?
I mean, do you guys have any plans? I was gonna go probably look around for a bit.
Yeah, Stevie, I think you were gonna say something in the middle of there.
Oh, I couldn't remember if last time I told them to stay away, to warn the townspeople to stay away from any water they gathered from the well.
Oh. Oh, that is absolutely. We'll begin boarding it up right now.
Plan on drinking only from the rivers and streams nearby.
The guard turns around. You heard it. If you want water, you're gonna have to make a trip down to the river. And some of the townspeople have already begun to kind of disperse a bit, but they.
What time is it, Tyler?
Noon, a little about like 1 probably.
Well, we have time to answer their questions now. We're gonna need to rest before we tackle any dungeons. I know that Gryfella doesn't know it's a dungeon exactly, but she knows there's bad guys at the bottom.
There's bad guy. You get down there and it's like the most warm people you've ever met. Just
Warm
like,
welcome.
hi.
Bold
We're
people.
we're just trying.
We're just
We're
trying
just
to
trying
get
to
out of
raise
the
a.
well.
We're just trying to raise a lich down here. Welcome. Can we get you some tea? Just. Oh.
They have a book.
I
They're
would
like,
love some tea. What's it made out of? Oh, the blood of our enemies.
Yeah. Just. Oh, some coagulated blood.
Delicious.
One fear, actually many fear.
could we interest you in talking about our savior, the Lich King?
Could I interest you in talking about our Lord and Savior?
Demon lich.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. Norven's peacing out.
Norven's peacing out.
Yeah.
Norven, would you like to deliver your? You know what? Would anyone like to play Norven? I will ask that. Would anyone like to play him?
If Ryan wants me to play Norven, I can try, but
I feel like it'd be okay if Norven just went to go get drunk.
I would say Other than
I
that,
think
I will
that's
have
plenty
Norven.
fine.
Okay, so Norven at this point pipes up, looks out at the body of Anna, kind of heaves a slight bit, and goes, "If you guys need me, I'm gonna be at the bar." And he just makes his way over to Vinci's tavern.
Okay, bye.
Norven.
We need him.
All right.
Bye. I pieced the fuck out.
Bye, Ryan. Feel better.
Feel better, bud.
I will. I think I'll be fine in a day or two.
Stop the
but
sick.
Ugh.
Stop the sick.
Stop the sick.
I'm so mad at small children.
Mm.
Boop.
Boop.
As you guys are kind of watching Norven leave, Lull, you feel kind of a whisper in your ear, and it says, "You must be Lull."
I must be what?
your own name, Lull.
Your own name.
Oh.
I must be what?
The
You turn
fuck?
around and it's the Dragonborn,
Oh.
adorned in white robes with green linings and designs and detailings and very formal. He gives you a warm smile and says, "Your sisters told me a lot about you.
Oh.
No worries.
Okay.
No worries. If you ever have a minute, I'd love to talk to you at the temple. But
Okay.
For now, I
Sister told me how you shit on the Bible.
Not too far off from the truth.
kinda.
Oh my gosh, I'm like everywhere tonight. I would love to. Just let me answer these questions, and then if you need any help with funeral processions or anything, I am here to help.
A blessing of Agna was always appreciated when dealing with the dead.
Of course.
And it's kind of a grim smile as he works with some of his clergy to take the body away over to the temple. The guard kind of gives your group a look. So you want to be? Oh wait, hang on. Sorry, ugh, I got totally caught up in my own words. I was like, I assumed a completely different character for like half a second. I was like, wait. He says, "Well, it'll take a moment for the captain to come up with a briefing to give you all, but if I could find you in maybe an hour or two.
Yes.
Shopping.
Well, is there a covering for the body I could use? I'd like to deliver the body to Belly, the remains.
Well, they just took the body away.
Yeah, they're going to the temple.
They're going to the temple with it?
With it to prepare it for like a funeral kind of thing and kind of do some blessings for it because, you know, it's an undead body.
Is Belly in town at all? Did she see this happen?
Give me a perception.
Okay.
First roll of the night.
Gryfella, you can give me one too because you're also seeming interested in Belly at this moment.
13 plus perception, right? 3, so 16.
Yep. 16.
5.
Gryfella just like, you see Adi? Nope, you just looking at Adi. Lull, you don't see any. You don't. I don't have your money. You don't see any sign of Belly in the crowd.
Okay. Well, is there anything else happening beyond this? Like,
there's a couple lingerers. Some people are still kind of staying back in the buildings they've taken shelter in from the whole altercation of a walking corpse through the town. A lot of people have begun to disperse because guards are kind of waving them away now. It's like, you know, it's happened, another sick plague, get back.
yeah.
Crowd is starting to disperse a bit.
Well, if anything, I'm glad that Anda was probably the first and is going to be the last human that was turned undead. Hopefully.
I thought the guard said that there was at least a couple others.
Well, the guard
as
said
one
they
of
were
them,
mostly animals.
One of them walks by and just goes, "There were."
There what? Oh.
Gives you kind of a pat on your shoulder and goes about, just walks off.
Thank you, sir.
I think we should be the ones to tell Belly if we can find her.
Yeah, of course. Would we know where Belly is during this time of day?
I thought she was
Lull, this is gonna be weird. Give me a charisma check.
I actually have a decent charisma. But I rolled a 6.
Rolled a 6.
Hold on, what's my charisma bonus? +2.
So I'm making that solely because it would have been something that you guys may have talked about when you were cooking food together.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't a topic you covered.
Okay. Well, considering she's not here, she could be at her house.
That's the only place we got to look. So,
Yep.
Everyone coming with us, or does anybody else have any plans?
I mean, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, I'll go.
Do we have a Turalyon, or is he still in the outhouse?
He's pooping.
Okay, still. Turalyon is standing there, just 1,000-yard stare off in the distance, being left on AFK.
Like, I know what it's like to die.
He cut off Anda's head, and then he goes, "Be right back, quick poops."
He's pooping on a Bible.
Then he goes back into the woods.
Oh my god. Alright, so you guys begin making your way out to Belly's house, which would normally take maybe a 5-minute walk, but because of... Actually, I should have factored this in last week, or last time. I didn't, but Turalyon's still recovering. He's a little slower. So it takes you guys about a 10-minute walk out there.
What a slow.
Just, "You're so slow, Turalyon." No answer. Wind blows.
Just... You guys have him on like a rope tied around his neck and you're leading him like a dog. Just so he doesn't get like left behind.
No.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's a quick walk there. The air is getting a little colder today and the clouds are starting to roll in, the sun's starting to be somewhat obscured in the sky.
Alright, do we see Belly or Beaver or their daughter?
You do see Beaver out in the field again, and as you guys begin to approach, he kind of waves you down. Hi! What's going on? What can I do?
Well...
Belly,
you know?
to hear this.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'll get her.
Thank you.
He goes in the house and comes back with her, and he's kind of got his hand on her back, and he's walking with her, and she comes out. Beaver said you had something to say to me?
I couldn't keep my promise to you, Belly.
We found Anda, but it was too late. There was a body. We went to her and Porker's house. We were investigating around the area, trying to find any idea of what could have happened. And we heard banging on the back door, and it turns out that it was an undead body of Anda. So...
You know the plague that's been sweeping through your town. It's not a plague. I mean, I guess it is plague.
It's a type of plague. I feel like there's a puppet master doing something.
Our bedside manner is horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
As you guys are talking, you kind of hear quiet sobbing, and her hair is kind of down over her face, and she's just staring down at the ground.
Hug.
Yeah, you and Beaver kind of go in to kind of hold her, and she finally, through tears in a shaky voice, "Do you know what did it? Who did it?"
Our assumption is Foraker, but we are still gathering clues, gathering proof.
She interrupts you and just screams, "That bastard!" and kind of like tries to pull out of your guys' grasps.
It'll be okay. Just...
I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
We're gonna do this the right way. It's hard. But we gotta do it the right way. What's she gonna do?
She glances up through her hair and says, "What's the right way then?"
Convict him. Hopefully he spends the rest of his life rotting in jail.
I want that fucker dead. How do you know he did it?
Does anybody else want to talk?
Just roll this is hard. Roll a Constitution saving throw because of emotional trauma.
Our prevailing
A
evidence.
19.
All right.
Our prevailing evidence is her body was buried in their backyard, and a knife from their home was buried in her back. Was it?
Stomach.
A kitchen knife, yeah.
Oh. I see.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Beaver pipes up, and you can see tears kind of in his face too, and he pats her back, and he's like, "I'm gonna take you inside, and I'm gonna get you a warm cup of tea." He glances back at the rest of you and says, "We can talk about this later.
That sounds
We're
great.
gonna need a bit." And they make their way into their house and leave you in the crisp fall air, as you can hear the winds faintly howling in the distance.
I glance around to everyone else in the group, and I say, "I'll kill him myself," and I start walking towards Foraker's house.
Ooh, doggy.
Oh boy.
Fellas, they probably caught him at work. Or they probably already have him in custody.
I'm sure I'll catch a guard along the way.
You guys are headed
Sure.
there?
And I follow.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you guys begin making your way to where?
Porkers.
Downtown.
I said Forkers, but they were going to get him at work, I guess.
Yeah, at the lumber
That's
mill.
true, we were
Or
at
the
his
logging,
house.
the logging site.
We'll head towards there. I'm betting we'll get stopped by guards at some point.
Okay. Marching through town, it's another 10-minute walk back through with Turalyon limping his way. It's not really like a full-on limp, but it's kind of like when you're sick and your body's really achy and it hurts to move. It's kind of like that. He's kind of just trying to keep pace, but he's just not able to because he's still recovering.
Let's see, do I have any fun spells for this? Probably not.
You guys make it to the crossroads, take a turn, heading north. Takes you maybe about 20 minutes or so, a little more to get there, and by the time you get there, you see...
Sorry, quick question for everyone. I didn't put the letter from Anda's cottage, the one that talked about,
The smudged one?
yeah, the smudged one that talked about not attacking something, or will not attack here.
Oh.
Did somebody else pick that up? I don't remember if I was the last one to look at it.
I think you and Lull were the ones glancing over
Lull
it.
cast mending on it, I believe. Or did
Yeah,
he?
she had mending.
Somebody did.
She had mending on it, and then Stevie did precipitation to blow it off even more.
Oh, yeah, he dried it, or whatever.
Okay, then I probably ended up with it.
I would assume either you or Lull would have held onto it, unless you guys just went like, "Huh, this is cool." Tosses it in the lake again.
Trash.
I'm
Wafts
gonna
it up
assume
and
that I
eats it.
got it, because
Yeah.
I picked it up last.
It's like in when in
I'm
Cat
like
in the Hat when there's like a deleted scene or it's in the movie where like one of the things tries to give her a ticket and then they just eat it and then they start like Heimlicking him.
I'm like our bookkeeper. I have the love notes, I have the quill, and now I have...
Stevie's got all the
You
things.
also
Good,
have
we need a
literal
bookkeeper.
spellbook.
I have a literal spell book. I have a book of lore.
Ooh.
One specific lore.
I have a cookbook.
Okay.
How dare you carry a book? Give it to me.
What is that noise?
Oh my god, who is like maximizing
mic
their
was, like-
mic?
Yeah, your mic was flipping out and there was so much like static going on. It sounded like you went like
Wait,
full Lynch
who?
mode. Stevie's still doing it. Stevie,
It added to the intensity.
it did. Stevie, you there,
How
bud?
dare you have a book?
Oh no,
Stevie
no.
just exploded.
Hello?
Stevie, I think you've reached critical mass there. No more books today.
Too much knowledge.
Knowledge
Okay,
corrupts.
so you guys find yourselves walking up to the field of stumps and soon to the wood line where you can see the familiar Goliath the Manga, the familiar dwarf Klund, and their logging co. No
Are they,
Forker
like-
in sight.
Are they like together at all? Are they doing their own thing?
They're working. They're, I mean,
All right.
clustered up, working.
What's her name? Awanda?
Yeah, I was
Imanga.
about to ask.
Imanga. I kind of wave down Imanga. I'm like, hey, can you come over here real quick?
She takes notice to you guys and puts her
Any
axe on her
guards?
shoulder. No guards. Klund
Nope.
kind of looks over and gives a slight wave.
I kind of motion for Klund as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already kind of okay. He puts his axe by his tree and starts waddling over. As the manga approaches, she towers over you guys. How tall is your tallest member?
I think that would
Isn't
be...
I think it's Turalyon. I think.
I'm
a-
Or a little bit of 6
6'2".
foot.
6'2".
She's almost 2 feet taller than you are.
Wow.
She looks down, kind of crosses her arms.
Tralyon's like,
Guess-
one moment. He goes, wow.
Yeah, as she walks up, you just go, "Wow."
I've seen her before though.
I know.
You did notice before.
Puts her axe down at her side, crosses her arms. Guessing you lot are the reason Forker just got carried off.
Oh, good, they did find him. Yes, we found more information on Anda. It's not good. And we presume that Forker had something to do with this information.
She looks down at Klund, who kind of looks troubled by all of it. And she looks back at you. So what'd you find?
That the plague wasn't actually a plague. That these creatures were turned undead, and one of them just so happened to be Anda.
You think Farker's the reason that she's dead?
She was dead in his own backyard.
With a kitchen knife stabbed in her back. Stomach.
Stomach, back, same thing. No, she kind of she blinks for a moment, looks off in the distance back towards town, and says, "Yeah, that's pretty evident to me."
I start to walk away. I was overzealous. The guards are probably looking for us. Head back towards town.
We just wanted to let you guys know, especially Clund, like, we're so sorry for assuming anything. Thanks for the information, by the way.
You see, his face is already kind of reddened. It looks like he's already done some crying a bit over being informed that Anda was turned, plagued, killed, whatever. She's currently no longer with him. And he just kind of gives a nod, turns around, and heads back to the tree. And since she can't really pat him on the back, Imanga kind of gives him a little nudge with her knee. And they
Are
head
there
back
any
to
flowers nearby?
Not really. The ground's really covered in a lot of wood chips. It's kind of barren, some dying grasses.
Okay, I don't really know what I could do in this situation then. Alright.
Yeah, they're already headed back to their trees.
Shall we head back to town?
Gryfella already was headed there.
Cool.
Yeah, so Gryfella's leading the charge back into town, another 20 or so minute walk back. A lot of walking today.
Yeah.
It's good for us.
We gotta meet our daily steps goal.
Should we
Listen, we're not the hot squad because we sit around. We're the hot squad because we work out.
In a sudden choir, what's up?
Do we get experience for every day pass? Because I'm just gonna walk circles around town.
In a sudden choir, your Fitbits all announce that you've leveled up.
Nice.
As you guys make it back into town, there's a few guards. The crowd is mostly, actually completely dispersed.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more isolated than normal. As you guys have kind of walked through up in town before, there's usually people going around doing their business. You see what looks like businessmen going from place to place, people going in the various markets. It's never been bustling with life, but it's almost a ghost town except for a soul or two deciding to pass through.
Yeah, okay. Well, do we see the kind of officer? Because I know we have to answer some questions.
They might be
there's a couple. Actually, yeah, you know what? Give me a persuasion. Or not persuasion. Give me a perception for...
Natty 1.
Natty 1.
3.
Okay, so you guys go into town and you guys are just like...
I want some food.
Has this town ever had a guard?
No wonder this town is overrun with undead. There's nothing here.
It is a complete ghost town.
Okay. Can I check a couple of the shops? Are they open?
Do we know where Forker would be held? Do we know where the guards hung out? Do we know if there's like a jail or a warden's or a captain's office or?
Give me... Or a dungeon. He's in the dungeon! He threw him in the well!
He's in the dungeon!
Eat up, zombos!
That's morbid and hilarious.
Jesus Christ. As you guys are kind of in town, you see a couple men are hammering away at the well. They've kind of got some boards started. In terms of shops, you'd see the blacksmith's forge. Smoke is pluming out of the top of it. Bookstore, grocer. You see Airman's kind of sitting at on the box, flipping through a book. Adi shops there. A lot of it's kind of quiet, but I mean they seem open. In terms of where there would be a guard thing, you pass by a barracks a couple times, and it looked to be a barracks. It was like a pretty heavily fortified structure.
Good as place as any.
But the bookstore.
No, we just saw it happen when Gryfella got too many books. She reached critical mass and turned into lava.
No, I want books now.
I want to reach critical mass.
You already know you can't.
Oh. We have a mission here, and you get no books.
Oh my god. Okay, so I guess Asla would probably know the way to the barracks, but really if you guys knew it. Give me... I'm gonna have Gryfella give me a survival check with Alsa's assistance.
Tally saying Alsa.
Alsa, sorry.
Alsa.
I'm used to
Either
saying
way.
Alsa. It's Alsa. It's salsa without the S in the first word.
Also,
Hey, Sierra, you gonna help me out with that nat 1?
Yeah, I got you, dude.
No, I'm saying I rolled a nat 1.
Got you, dude.
Oh my god.
Guys, have we ever been to this town before?
where
It's a
are
lot
we?
different now that it's really grim and horror. Yeah, you guys blink and suddenly you're across
this
the
the
map. But
same-
the map I
this
just
the
may
same
have
town?
spent
The
tons of time on is
21?
completely moot.
I got the
So,
21.
Gryfella
Gryfella
goes
begins
this
to-
way and walks
Yeah,
in the
Gryfella
front.
is starting to describe like a building. Like, I think it looks like this. And then Alsa's like, oh
Gryfella,
yeah,
I
that
think they're
building, I
talking
know.
About the bar.
And she takes you straight to this building, which Gryfella, it matches your description, but isn't the building you're thinking of. It's a
That ain't it.
it's
That
a
ain't
small
right.
fenced-in compound with a wooden structure, and as you peek in kind of around, you see a stable. There's a few horses, and you see a.
This is the jail for the
brown-
horses.
I
You
run
see,
up and I feed the horse one of my carrots.
Ah, I knew the carrots existed for a reason.
Yes.
my God.
-1 carrot.
You kind of jauntily skip over and pull a carrot out of your bag and begin to feed one, and you hear a voice come out from the left of you.
Hello.
Deep voice. It says, "That one does not like carrots."
Is it eating the carrot though?
No.
Okay, what does it like?
A furbolg man approaches you, handing out an apple.
Thank you. I feed it the apple.
Oh, shoot, wait, hang on, I gotta get a note.
Oh.
I gotta stop pacing around my room, because then I have to interrupt and run and go find a note.
I mean, I don't think pacing is bad.
I mean, yeah.
Helps you think.
His name is Tito.
Tito? That's really cute. It sounds like a chip. What's a chip?
I think that's what some people call bison poop.
Oh.
Ew.
That is true.
Okay. Well, he's very sweet.
He is. Are
What's
you
your
looking
name?
for a horse today? Oh. My name is Noble.
Noble?
Noble.
Oh, I see what happened. I described a building and Sierra brought me to a stable. I'm a fucking idiot.
Hey, you kind of sound like Devon. Do you know Devon?
No.
Devon James.
Did you say his name
Oh
is
my God,
Noble?
Lauren.
Noble.
His name is Noble or Nobu?
Noble. Like,
Okay.
Stevie's a noble.
Yeah.
This guy is noble.
No, we're looking for the captain of the guard. There was someone who we were looking for that turned undead, and we have to answer a couple questions for them.
He takes a bite of an apple. Kind of walks out to the front of the stable. Points down the other direction. Opposite end of town.
Nice job, Elsa! Woo!
It's Gryfella's fault. She pulls her hood up down a little bit and just kind of gets red in the cheeks.
Gryfella, I thought you were gold. All right. We're not looking for horses right now, but thank you so much. All right, let's head out.
If you are, you know where to find me.
Yep.
He takes a seat at a stool, starts eating an apple and brushing the hair of a horse, and as you guys start making the other direction, when you reach the crossroads, you find the guard from earlier who is actively looking around and goes, "Ah!"
Hello!
I say apologies because I could tell he's looking for us. Apologies, we finished with Belly and we're hoping to catch you at the
We were looking
lumber
for
mill.
you!
Well, I literally just left the bar looking for you. Captain, we'll see you now if you are available.
Yeah, let's go.
Of course, was Norven there? Is he coming? Our friend from
No.
earlier?
No, he's
Most likely the passed out drunk in the corner.
he's got half the bar singing along with some made up folktale, and the other half just wants him to go. But
That's probably the best place for him right now.
I won't lie, I was one of those that was singing along. He's not
Good.
a bad singer.
Yeah, he's not a bad singer.
He kind of chuckles. All right, this way, and he begins leading off in the direction of the barracks.
Oh yeah,
Now
I
I gotta
never
pull up
asked. What's your name?
You thought I wouldn't have had this already written, did you?
Ha!
But I do.
Damn
Okay. Let me get it really quick. I have it buried in this because I didn't think anybody would ask his name, but I actually had it written down just in case.
Is it as ridiculous as Beaver?
No.
Damn it.
You can call me Yorkin.
Yorkin?
Yorkin Whitemane.
Yorkin White Man.
Maine.
White Mane.
Does he have a beard?
White. No.
What does this
Armor.
guy look like?
I can describe his armor. So he's wearing kind of like a jerkin. It's in like a kind of a cross checkered pattern. His like top left chest is blue, top right is white, and then the bottom is inversed. Big pauldrons, like kind of a large singular steel plate pauldron. He's got a
WoW thing, isn't it?
Is it?
I think Whitemane is a WoW thing. Chibi, am I right?
The last name? The last name's common.
I thought it was like a...
I can... Hold on. It sounds, like, familiar, but...
I think it's a character or something. It might be a last name. I don't know.
His boots are muddied, spear slung around his back, and he has a rather clean-shaven face, strong jaw, dark eyes, kind of a bent nose. Can't really see any hair coming out from underneath his steel helmet, which comes up to a point.
They're a boss from one of the dungeons.
Is he taller than me?
Yeah, a little bit.
I want to boop the top of his pointy helmet.
So he begins to lead the charge, and you lean up and kind of bop the top of it. He stops in his tracks, and you kind of bump into the back of him.
Oh.
He turns around, mouths like, the fuck, and then just carries on. Okay.
What a trooper.
So it's a short walk down the other way to the east of the crossroads to
Guys,
another
I'm so
small
sick of walking around this town.
another small fenced-in compound.
We could go get a horse. We could ride a horse
Shut
around
up.
town.
Maybe you get a horse. It's surrounded by a stocky stone brick wall. Within you see, he leads you inside, which you see several archery targets and straw dummies for training, a handful of tables and racks housing all kinds of different weapons, largely axes, swords, and spears. You see another stable there, which contains 3 horses, 2 appearing to be of a smaller build and shimmering burgundy, and the other a hefty black monster of an animal. You're led by a small flight of steps leading up the wall and into the large 2-story barracks. Large stones cobbled together make up a hefty foundation supporting the second floor of the familiarly white plastered stone you've seen throughout the rest of Broga. Yorkin opens one of the 2 entryway doors and waves his hand inside for you all to proceed.
In we go.
Yep.
Inside, you're met with a large room with wooden floors and a few barred wooden windows letting in a few stray rays of sunlight. It's pretty dark and musky in there. A few guards can be seen sitting around playing card games, one's sharpening a blade, some of them are donning or doffing armor, getting on or off shift. A couple of wooden archways on the left and right lead to other sections of the compound. Before you get a decent glimpse into where they lead, Yorkin pipes up and says, "For you and your safety, I have to ask you to surrender your weapons. You can pick them up once you leave. Just find the cubby and you can store them there. When you're ready, I'll give you a quick search and you can proceed up the stairs." And he walks over to the set of wide wooden stairs leading up. As you look around there, and there's like lots of kind of like lockers, like what would look like a locker without a door on it. A lot of cubbies, just some
hole,
have
yeah.
stuff in them.
Welcome to kindergarten. I put my dagger in there.
Yeah.
I fork over 2 daggers and a light crossbow.
I give him all my whippings.
I mean, you're more just putting it in a stall thing. You're not really giving him anything. Is
No, I
anybody
give it to him.
trying...
I give it to him.
Oh, you walk up to him and you hand it to him?
Yes.
Sword.
I have a sword. He kind of locks eyes with you. How long are you gonna stand there like that?
15 seconds.
You're gonna stand there for 15 seconds?
Yep.
Okay, so it's 10 before he just goes... He points behind you.
Tyler. Gryfella has forgotten the small knife in her scholar's pack. Do I make it through the TSA?
I was gonna ask, does anybody want to actually, like, hide anything? Are you gonna try to smuggle anything with you? Keep a dagger on you, keep anything on you?
I want
Gryfella just want to think of it as a weapon, so...
I want to unwrap my holy symbol from my quarterstaff and put it around my neck, and then put my staff and my hammer on the thing.
Okay. All that happens is, as he's kind of giving you a pat down, Gryfella, he notices a knife, and you're just like, shit, forgot about that. And you just go toss it back in your...
Oh wait, I also put my handful of tiny arrows in.
Oh my god. So you're like, these tiny arrows, I get off the goblin, but everyone else looks like you just go, this tiny bundle of sticks, and you put it, and you just set it down.
I'm assuming they don't try to take my books or anything.
No, they don't. They don't take any books. The professionalism at which you guys are exhibiting here has caused a couple of the guards to take notice and
all
just
I did was
kind
put
of...
my dagger in there.
No, I know. It's like... It's more so the bundle of sticks, the Turalyon incident, and then it's... If it would have just been the dagger, it would have been fine, but it's like, God, these guys are all over the place.
Dude, I wish I was playing Norven right now. Because I would literally start taking off everything, and then I would tell the guard that I'm highly trained in everything as a weapon.
Stevie, it's not too late. Norven runs through the...
Norven runs it!
God dang it.
Okay, so but that would be great. You know that
you guys begin filing up the stairs, and once you reach their summit, you're met with a much more pleasant-looking room. A larger window allows much more light to illuminate the white-walled room, showing off a large table in the center with several scrolls resting on it.
I look for nearest foraker to throw through window.
There's no foraker up there.
Damn it!
You do see a couple of paintings of a field and a mountain rest on the wall.
Do any of us recognize them? Do I recognize them?
The paintings?
So, most of you would notice they are. You notice that the mountain is familiar. The field, not so much, but the mountain is definitely familiar to you and to most of you. Most of you have at some point seen this mountain constantly looming over the rest of you. It is known as the Pillars of Rain, but it's spelled like rule rain, not of rain. But some people various around the world, especially from where you're from, Gryfella, like to poke fun at the fact that it is definitely a pillar of rain because you guys, being at one side of the mountain that gets a lot of moisture, you see a lot of rain.
Ha! It's like when you point at the arch and you go, "Hey guys, I can see the arch."
But it's the arch from the Schnook.
Yorkin approaches the door, or the only door in the room, taps his knuckle on it twice, and calls out, "The travelers you've requested are to see are here, Captain." Before he steps aside.
Tyler, I follow Ogna, not the traveler.
Got him.
Damn!
A nuclear device is invented and is dropped on Brilga.
Thank God.
Door. Oh my God! The door swings open and you're met with two guards flanking a fair-skinned human male of a heavy build and wide shoulders and with curly short blonde hair. Likewise, he bears a white and blue tunic, but his has a small patch depicting a shield surrounded by vines and a flower in the center. Chainmail sleeves dangle down from his elbows, exposing his dark leather gloves covered by plate bracers detailed with the similar ivy-like markings. His knees and shins are also covered in similarly designed plates. His appearance and armor are far more recognizable and decorated than a lot of the other guards you've seen around the town, and a clear indicator of his higher esteemed rank. The man motions to his guards and nods toward your party, and then takes a seat at the only chair at the table. The two accompanying guards stand alert at the height of the stairs you just came from, currently blocking your way back down. Your escort, Yorkin, takes a position beside the captain. "My name is Captain Kraus Redden. I oversee the security." Kraus Redden.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh my God.
My thing cut out when you said his name the second time too. What was it?
Kraus Redden. I oversee the security and safety of Brilga and the guard in this town.
Out of
You're
character.
the lot-
Nice job.
You're the lot that was involved in the incident earlier today with Anda, is that correct?
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're also the party responsible for felling the beaver bear on the perimeter of town.
Yes.
For that, I am personally thankful, as we were in the midst of exchanging guard shifts when the incident occurred. If I am also informed correctly, one of yours was killed in the exchange, and for that I do extend my sincerest apologies.
Don't worry, he's back.
Chippy.
And I look
I was gonna
over
say,
at
Chippy,
Turalyon.
That would be the perfect time for you to go, "It's alright."
Thanks, man.
As
Appreciate it.
He glances at you and notices the scarring on your neck and says, "It's good to see you back on your feet and in one piece."
Thank you, soldier.
He gives you a very slight smile, but his face remains still hard and unchanged.
I nod my head.
As I'm sure you've heard, our town has been griefed with the plague. Yorkin here has updated me with some of the details that you've provided. As I'm sure you've heard and seen, we commonly see beasts and sometimes goblinoid folk or our very own people being overtaken with extreme aggression, ruthlessly lashing out at others, biting, clawing, anything they can do to cause harm. Most victims are able to escape their attacks, but there have been 3 occurrences now resulting in deaths, yours included. We've gathered that the sick often exhibit symptoms of intense stomach pains, fevers, vomiting, but only in extreme cases assume these rabid states. We've only resorted to executing the 2 townsfolk who have reached that state and attacked another and refused to communicate. And I'm told you led Anda into the center of town and executed her for the populace to see, without consulting the guard. What do you say of this?
It was for investigative purposes, and we figured out about your well because of it.
He glances over to Yorkin, who then nods. There was a knife discovered lodged in her stomach when the incident occurred earlier today, and Yorkin here says it was there as she approached the town, with you all following in tow. What's the story behind that?
We were requested by Belly to figure out what happened to her sister, Anda, and we were investigating around her and her husband Forker's house, and we happened to come across the undead body with the knife already in its back. we found and yeah.
Tummy.
So, whatever. What the hell ever, guys.
Lull has a meltdown and turns into
It
lava.
matters.
Just he goes. The knife was not found in the back. It was found in the stomach. You are under
Guilty.
arrest.
Because I'm a tiefling. What the fuck, guys? Anyways. I am a specialist of the undead. I have been researching them for about a couple years. So I used one of my powers, my abilities to figure out where this could have originally came from by leading her back. Before leading her forwards, we found an unturned grave by the wood line, which I'm assuming was our dear Anda's. And then we decided to see where she was going because she wasn't attacking anyone. She just wasn't alive and going somewhere specific, somewhere that was extremely similar to this beaver bear. And we knew that we were strong, we would keep the people safe, and we would do this in a safe and reasonable manner to where no one would get hurt.
Give me a persuasion.
Okay. Oh, it fell off the table. That's an 8. Hold on.
Out of character. And none of this would have happened if we hadn't broke into Foraker's house.
That's true.